Channel 3.
Hi, Jeff and Channel 3. Thank you for being here.
Mike from Channel 6.
Mike from Channel 6. Thank you, sir, for being here.
I'm Doug Chapman, Channel 6.
Doug Chapman?
John.
John Chapman. Oh, Channel 6. Okay. I recognize you. There's only one John Chapman. I know. I've never seen you in person. Thank you for being here, sir. And who are you, sir?
Steve Packard. I'm with Flat River Media.
All right. Thank you for being here, Steve, also. And we
welcome.
have in the back. I'm sorry I missed your name.
Jobina.
Jobina. Thank you for being here. Mr. Bill Solo, you don't need an introduction, do you?
Bill doesn't.
Bill doesn't. And Janice and Dan is here. Danny is here, and Melanie, and Robert. Okay, and Nurse Courtney. Nurse Courtney is taking good care of me.
Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. This is a press conference that has been called for the continuation of the discussions and examples of concerns we in the community have with police conduct and procedures. The public is not made aware of where procedures are broken, where the police go over the line in doing their business, and too often citizens who are affected by this, as we're here for Tonya Ward, are feeling very abused and mistreated, and there doesn't seem to be an avenue for relief. In the case of Tonya Ward, the incident stemmed from an accident. And what was the date of the accident?
March 23rd.
It was March 23rd, the date of the accident, and she was rushed to an emergency room trauma center at UNMC. While she was in the emergency room, police came, the police who were on the scene of the accident, because there is the contention that they actually helped cause the accident by being parked in a lane not visible to traffic, came and badgered Miss Ward to sign a citation while she was just getting off of the ambulance. And she was not prepared to sign any legal documents, but they continued to badger her to do this while she was there, threatening her with arrest if she wouldn't sign legal documentation. They followed up with this after she was released from the hospital by coming to her home, the same two police officers, which also raises questions. We have questions about protocol, we have questions about whether this was a legal arrest. They didn't produce a warrant. She asked for a warrant, and I went online to try and find a warrant, couldn't even find a warrant. And so we have questions about even the legality of the arrest, much less the proper protocols for the same police who she had resisted in the emergency room from that treatment to coming to her home and following through with their threat of arresting her. So, I'm not going to be the person to talk about the actual individual experiences that she had. She's got to be the person that does that for you. But I'm here because I'm a community activist and advocate. I am the director of the Family Advocacy Movement. I've known Tonya for a long time. I know that she is a caring, involved citizen in our county, in our city. And I've also been involved in the concerns that we have as a community with police brutality, police misconduct, and our continuing demand that this city take seriously the protection of citizens when it comes to the role of the police.
Could I just add, I'm Nurse Courtney, nursecourtney.com. I have an advanced practice degree in public health and community nursing. I'm a social advocate and social justice and health advocate. And I just want to say that I experienced UNMC. My brother was murdered in this city, and UNMC literally had his murderer sitting next to his children in the emergency room. And the entire way that his treatment was conducted was a violation of so many different things. For a hospital emergency room to allow police officers in to ask for information from a patient who's compromised is unethical, illogical, and unheard of. in any other context. I have worked at over 30 different hospitals in this country. I'm a trauma nurse, I'm an ER nurse, and I can't even believe that what happened at UNMC happened. Now, my experience with UNMC was not, I mean, you know, I felt they didn't handle that, nor did the police handle my brother's case very well, but I'm appalled to know that our people are not being advocated for in the emergency rooms in our hospitals. So if you're injured in this community and you're a person of color, does that mean that you're subject to all sorts of abuse because you don't have anyone to advocate for you? And that's what nurses are supposed to do. So our hospital system is responsible just as much as the police for violating the rights of this person who was compromised and in no way should have been put in a position of being required to sign documentations when they hadn't even assessed her level of consciousness. They didn't even know if she was breathing, if she had hemorrhage, if anything was happening. And in fact, Ms. Ward ended up in the ICU for more than 5 days. Intensive care unit says a lot about extents of injury. And so the police are harassing her while she's injured. And you know, the nurses in the ER did not advocate for her, and UNMC doesn't take a position of advocacy for people that are under their protection and, you know, care. I'm amazed, and I can't believe that this is allowed to go on in this community.
One of the most troubling things about this, listening to it, when Ms. Ward contacted me, she explained that the same two officers that were present at UNMC were the ones that came back well over a month later to arrest her on a misdemeanor warrant. These weren't detectives, these weren't investigators, they were uniformed patrol officers. So it makes me wonder, was the arrest even by law? You know, I mean, was it an unlawful arrest? And what boundaries were crossed? I mean, if the accident happened on 72nd and Western, Ms. Ward lives at 19th and Benton. I mean, you would have to ask the chief or somebody, you know, what guidelines do these officers have? You know, were rules broken? I mean, does this happen all the time where people don't know? I mean, are uniformed officers working as detectives? I mean, are they subjecting people to arrest when it's not warranted? I mean, this was a misdemeanor from the beginning, and just because a ticket was not signed, somebody that was, I don't know if there was any head trauma, but clearly she was in the ICU for several days, so that should say, I mean, I don't think I would sign something if I was just involved in an accident. And again, you know, the nurse raised some interesting questions about the health care that we receive. You know, when we're in the hospital or when we're being treated, we shouldn't be subjected to things like this.
And further, just to complicate this situation and to help lead credence to why Ms. Ward would not want to sign any legal documentation without speaking with a lawyer first, without having the opportunity to be stabilized medically. This was a 4-car pileup. She was car 3. And I think that given the complexity of this, no common sense thinking person would admit to any sort of guilt or sign anything before an investigation is completed. And so that's part of our concern. Getting back to the warrant, the lack of warrant, before these police officers came into her home and insisted that she, even while she was wheelchair bound, that and on medication for blood clots from the accident, they didn't ever produce a warrant, and only after she was released from jail on a $5,000 bond did this letter get received by her at her home, which indicated that there was a warrant that had been issued for her arrest. This came after she was released from jail. And the date of that was 4/22/14. So, you know, it seems like, from those of us who watch these incidents occur over and over again, it seems like there are enough questions to want an investigation into how this was conducted. Because it's no small thing for a mother to who's just been injured in a serious car accident, who's trying to, you know, raise children, to be sitting in her home and then on top of all of that be not just harassed by police officers, but be taken without her wheelchair to a jail and made to sit in a too small metal wheelchair for 9 hours, where she is expected to experience verbal and physical abuse going on around her, and not know what is going to happen. She's not some criminal. As a matter of fact, in October of last year, she was on the news for having returned a diamond ring to a restaurant. It was cooked into an egg roll, and she found it in her takeout order, and so she was being recognized as a good Samaritan. And this is the Tonya that we know. This is the Tonya that, you know, is active in her community, giving back to her community. And, you know, while there may be, as always will be, issues related to poverty, which in her case, she didn't have current insurance, and she had an expired registration. That's it. It does not validate being treated unjustly by the police, or being made to suffer because the police were angry with her. These particular 2 officers were angry with her for refusing to sign documentation in the emergency room.
And she in fact has bruises on her back from that wheelchair, which, you know, in nursing there are stages to pressure sores and bruising and all the rest of it, and the bruise is so huge and her skin's breakdown such that she was forced to sit in that chair for a very long time. And it's just unethical to treat someone that way. I mean, and when the marks are showing on your body, you have skin breakdown, it's not appropriate. It is not appropriate.
And I may not be on camera, but if you can hear me, the proper procedure, I thought, is when you're issued a ticket, you're given a court date, and then you show up at court. And if you don't show up at court, they'll issue a warrant. So she was arrested on a ticket that she didn't even sign, which is exactly what it is. It's a ticket. It was a misdemeanor ticket. So whether she had signed it or not, it didn't call for a warrant because she hadn't even been to court. So who sweared out the warrant before she was ever even, you know what I'm saying, cited? She was picked up and arrested from her home before she was even cited by the same 2 officers that were at the hospital harassing her to sign the ticket, and she wouldn't. So they were way out of their job scope to even go to her home for this ticket that they were trying to issue her that she hadn't even signed. And then all of a sudden, since she's in jail, she gets a letter stating that it was a warrant issue. Well, guess what? They had to do that to cover their back.
And that's what I believe also. And again, the level of unprofessionalism that was showed to Miss Ward, even when they arrested her, her sons were present, and her son just asked for a hug. And the police officer stated, you know, don't touch him, don't touch her. And there's more to the story. You know, Miss Ward can tell you guys better than I can because she had to live through it. I mean, just the conduct that the police had towards Miss Ward, it's bothering me. You know, and anybody that's reading this report, you know, it should bother them. You know, from the chief on down, to know that his officers are out here treating citizens like this over a misdemeanor ticket.
It seemed like a vigilante activity. You know, they were angry with her for kicking her out of the hospital, for refusing to sign. They warned her that they would be arresting her for not signing. And she said, she told them, I can't even see. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what it would be I'm signing. And they wouldn't stop without threatening her with arrest. And they made good on that. But it wasn't, if it had been done based on what I would think proper police procedure would be, it wouldn't have to be those same 2 police officers coming to her home from who knows what jurisdiction they would normally be working in to arrest her. It seemed retaliatory. But, you know, even beyond that, we don't know. There was no warrant. We haven't been able to see a warrant. This letter came after she was released, and so all of the the questions that we have regarding advocacy at the hospital, you know, what is the procedure at hospitals for protecting patients and especially emergency patients, all the way to the police department. And we're here because we're often talking about our concerns about how police treat people within the community and especially people of color. And, you know, Ms. Ward being, you know, an upstanding, caring, loving person, having been affected by this, shows that really no one is immune to this sort of treatment.
Well, certainly not in the hospitals. If you're a person of color who's injured, you should have an advocacy. Ms. Ward could have signed that document and said, I am not capable of understanding this document because I'm in the hospital, and it wouldn't have held up in a case of court. She did not have the mental capacity or the physical capacity to sign any documentation. She should not have been arrested, harassed in the hospital, and the nurse and physician should have done whatever they could to advocate for her. So I really feel like it's a failure in this system. Is it police and hospitals? You know, are people of color neglected, period, in Omaha? You know, does one have to be a certain level of income citizen in order to get the proper response and the care that any human deserves? I find it appalling, really appalling, and shameful that UNMC would allow something to happen like that under their watch.
And when Ms. Ward expressed to the officers that she didn't feel comfortable, the same two being present in her home, taking her to jail, she asked for another car to respond. They told her no, that they could handle it, and they told her that she would not be able to take her wheelchair, which breaks down to about the size of a briefcase. They said there was no room in their vehicle for it. So, again, you're leaving somebody almost helpless. And she expressed that she was uncomfortable, but yet, hey, we got you. That's how it feels to me.
And she was not able to have her Coumadin levels checked from blood clots. She had more trouble subsequently from that. You know, I've been really working with those issues, and this is a very grave condition, pulmonary embolism, or the results of blood clots after an accident. Not sit in a wheelchair for 9 hours and expect that there's going to be a good outcome. So, I mean, they physically harmed her and put her in harm's way. And I thought police were supposed to protect the citizenry of this city. Are we, you know, is it just determined by color and income and your ability to speak for yourself? I don't understand. I really don't understand.
Do you have any questions?
Real quick, I want to clarify, this was March of this year.
When were you arrested? What date?
The accident was March 23rd, and I was arrested April 21st.
And then, if you don't mind, could you kind of tell us about that day, I guess, or what you can remember, or walk us through what happened?
The day of the accident?
Yeah, start from there, just to hear your kind of point of view of everything.
The day of the arrest.
Yeah, start with the accident, if you don't mind.
Oh, start with the accident, okay. So I've written everything down just so that I don't miss it, if you guys don't mind that I read. And I'm Tonya Ward, and I really appreciate everybody's here today and everybody speaking. On April 23rd, I was driving with my friend Dallas March 23rd, thank you. I was driving with my friend Dallas from 72nd and Ames, and we were headed to 72nd and Dodge. As I crossed southbound 72nd Street, I could see up ahead the lights of the officer in the left lane. That's the lane I was in. So I turned on my right turn signal, and I looked right and looked in my rearview mirror. There was no traffic, nobody was there, so I merged over into the right lane and got into the flow of traffic. Soon as that traffic crested western, the woman in front of me smashed on her brakes, I smashed on my brakes. She hit the car in front of her. I stopped behind her completely and safely. I was very, very close to her because I could see her bumper and her license plate, but I did not have contact with her. So my foot's on the brake, and I turn my body, my torso, to my passenger, Dallas. And I say to him, oh my God, you know, are you okay? And he's asking me, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, damn, that was close. And then out the right side of my eye, I saw a truck smash into us. And he hit us so hard, my foot was still on the brake. I let my foot go from the brake, and he pushed us into the car in front of us. And that car was pushed forward as well. I don't know if she hit another car or not, but she was pushed forward. At that point, at that instant, I was immediately like this in the car. I had totally lost all feeling on my left side and all control of my left side. So I was just sitting like this. And Dallas took his left shoulder and tucked it under my head, and then was holding my face. And he stayed in that position with me until the ambulance came and the firemen came. When the firemen got there, they told Dallas to get out of the car. And he was like, I can't let her head go, it'll flop forward. And I don't know, you know, I'm thinking my neck's broke, my back's broke, something's broke. So the fireman and Dallas did a little wiggle with each other, and the fireman replaced his shoulder with Dallas's shoulder, and Dallas crawled out over on top of the fireman. They put the neck brace on me. It was a little tangled in my scarf. And they put the neck brace on me, and they loaded me onto a board. They strapped me down. I think I had 3 or 4 body straps, and then they loaded me into the ambulance. In the ambulance, I had several anxiety attacks right away, and my head was just throbbing. My entire body was pulsing, pain, excruciating pain, and I have PTSD anyways, and I told the paramedics I have my anxiety medicine in my purse. That was left in my car, so I didn't have anything to take immediately. They started an IV in my arm, and I was just calling for Dallas, 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 and he was in the front of the ambulance. And so I was happy that he was there. I could hear his voice, but it still didn't stop the anxiety attacks. The collar was on me, and it was really tight. The paramedics were talking to me, trying to get me to, you know, follow their finger with my eyes. I couldn't. They took me to I asked them to take me to Bergen Mercy, because we were already on 72nd and Dodge, and I knew Mercy was ahead. But they said they had to take me to UNMC. So 20 minutes later or so, we ended up at UNMC. As the ambulance took me off of the stretcher out of the ambulance and wheeled me into the ER, those 2 cops followed. And so they immediately were in. I think they might have been detained for a minute or so, because I remember coming into the emergency room, and there was one Asian man, medical person in there, and then the cops came in. First, the black cop came in, and he told me that I caused the accident and that I need to sign this paper. And I told him I didn't cause the accident. I knew that for a fact, and I told him I'm in a lot of pain. I'd get my attorney, get Dallas. Dallas can sign anything you want, and I can't see, I can't read. Everything was fuzzy. I had dots and birdies flying, and I couldn't see. So the black cop kept telling me, you need to sign this. You have to sign this, or I'm going to take you to jail. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I want a doctor. I can't sign it. I can't see it. And I need a doctor. I need you to get me a doctor. So I don't know how long his badgering went on at me, but all he did was threaten me that he was going to take me to jail if I didn't sign. He said it over and over and over. And I finally didn't care. So he walked out of the room, and in comes the white officer. The white officer, same thing. You need to sign this. You caused the accident. Your boyfriend already told us that you hit that woman, and we're arresting him. He's going to jail. And you need to sign this or you're going to jail. And I was just amazed. I just yelled at them, you know, I couldn't sign the paper, At one point, I think I did tell him, yes, I can sign the paper, but the black cop was on this side of me, and my left side didn't work, and the white cop was on this side of me, and there was no medical people, and I told the black cop, well then, come over this side, you know, because I'm strapped down, come to this hand, and I will sign it. Just let's get this done, and then get me help, I'm in pain. So the cop came over to the side, but it wasn't to let me sign it. It was more badgering. He put the paper above me because I'm laying flat, and he stuck the paper above me. He said, can you read it now? And I was just like, oh my God, you know, no, I can't see it. Well, I'll read it to you. And I was like, I'm not signing, I'm not signing. So the cops continued on for I don't know how long, but it seemed like forever. And I finally yelled at them, cussed at them, said, leave me alone, get me a doctor, get my attorney, get Dallas. I'm done. So at that point, a white doctor, an old white doctor came in with white hair, and he screamed at me, you sign that paper for the police, or I'm not gonna treat you. And then he turned on his heels and he walked out.
Wow.
So I'm alone now. I'm all alone because I didn't sign the paper. I'm laying there on this thing. I'm having an anxiety attack, wave after wave. And then I had an asthma attack. I threw up inside my throat. I'm laying on that board, strapped down. There's no medical people. I'm saying, somebody help me, you know, I need help. And I could hear footsteps going past my door, but nobody was coming in. So I spit out the throat on my shoulder, on my chin, and I just, because I couldn't turn, I'm in that neck brace. So I just spit, drooled out.
You were left without a call light?
I didn't have
Could not even
anything.
notify
I didn't
them?
have anything.
Okay.
They all left me.
That's
I
a
didn't have anything.
huge violation.
So I'm laying there and I could hear people walking past and I'd scream out, help me, somebody please help me, you know, help me. Nothing, nothing. Finally, I remember a younger white doctor walked in, blue eyes, blonde hair, and he took my hand that was strapped down, and I said, please, sir, please, please, please don't leave me with these cops anymore. Please help me. I'm in so much pain. And he squeezed my hand. He said, I'm here. He wiped the spit up off my face, and he said, I won't leave you, and we're going to help you. And then it was something like, that's enough, or she's had enough. I don't remember his exact words, but that's my angel. He came and stopped those cops and got rid of them. At that point, I had to pee. I just had to go. And I told the nurse that was not happy with me, and I don't know why either. I'm just laying there. Oh, they were all mad at me because I wouldn't sign the paper. So the nurse is upset I wouldn't sign, the doctor's upset I wouldn't sign. And I don't understand. I'm just telling them how much pain I'm having and anxiety. I need my medicine. And nothing. So the nurse cut my pants off, which all I wanted her to do was unstrap me so I could at least, you know, we could just take them off. My right hand worked, so I could have wiggled out of my pants. But she cut the pants off me, and I didn't want her to, but she did. And so I'm laying there half naked, and I tell them I have to pee. So this nurse came and tried to give me a catheter, but they poked me like 4 times in the wrong spots, and then finally got the right spot, and then I was able to pee. So,
Do you want to keep going on this or the police, or get back to the police?
well, this one is, I passed out. So after that, I passed out, and I'm put into ICU. So I wake up in ICU, I'm there 7 days. When I got home from the hospital, I had to come back to the hospital because I was having issues, and I had to meet with an oncologist to make sure I didn't have a cancer in my lung. That was on a Thursday. So at that point is when the oncologist said, you don't have cancer, but in your leg, I think that this is a blood clot, you know, in your left leg. So let's get you down to scanning, and they will Doppler your legs and see if you have blood clots. And sure enough, I went downstairs, they Dopplered my legs, blood clots in both legs. Within 5 minutes, I was rushed to the emergency room and started an emergency procedure for blood clots, which was heparin. So heparin, that's what I was on until the 19th of April. And on that day, I I left Bergen Mercy and ended up in the ER at Lakeside, not being regulated. So that was a problem because the Coumadin levels had to stay between 2 and 3 to keep me safe. Too much, I bleed to death. Too little, I throw a blood clot. So I don't know Coumadin, but, and then I was arrested on, so that was the 9th day. I was home. Monday morning is the 21st. This is the day that I was arrested. On this morning, it was 9 a.m. and I had an appointment with Dr. Rock to get injections in my back because of the spasms that I was having from my head to my hips. So Dr. Rock met me 9 o'clock in the morning and gave me 6 injections in my back from my head to my hips. I can't take pain medicine before I see Dr. Rock because he's doing trigger points and I can't dull it. You know, I gotta be able to tell him where the pain is. So I had not eaten that morning, I had not had my medications, and then I had to go directly to Midlands Hospital and have my blood drawn for the Coumadin check. So that was at 11 a.m. I had my blood drawn at Midlands. I go home and it's about 1:30 in the afternoon on March 21st. Walgreens called and said my prescriptions were ready. April 21st, thank you. April 21st. Walgreens called and said that my prescriptions were ready for my pain medicine and my anxiety, and I was sending my son to go pick it up. As my son's getting ready to back out the driveway, up roll the police. So I'm in my bedroom, I don't know the cops are outside, I'm getting ready to go to bed, take my medicine, and lay down finally for the day, first time of the day. It's approximately 4 o'clock, and my son comes back inside, he's like, Mom, the cops are here. And I was like, okay, what's going on? He said, they want to arrest you. And I was like, what? And so I'm wearing just a sarong, just a wrap, and I'm naked underneath, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go see what they want. So I got out my wheelchair. I can take a few steps. I can walk a short distance. I just can't walk a walk. But I got out of my wheelchair and I went to the front door with my cane, and I opened the door and he said, you need to step out and talk to us. And I did, step on my porch, and my door shut. But the officer had his 2 fingers in my front door, the black officer. He was holding my door open with 2 of his fingers. And I didn't understand that either, but that's what he was doing. So we're standing on the porch. I'm leaning against my porch rail outside my door. The white cop is standing on the steps with 1 foot up on the porch. The black cop is standing directly in front of me with his fingers in like a cowboy, you know, and telling me that you're under arrest. I said, where's the warrant? I want to see your paper. Where's the warrant? And he said, you'll get a copy when you get to the station. You need to come with us. You're under arrest for failure to appear. And I said, failure to appear at what? And he said, a hearing. You missed a hearing. And you know you missed a hearing. And I was confused. I said, I've been in the hospital the last 30 days. I never received anything. And I said, oh, you're those 2 cops. You're the cops from the emergency room. And they were like, yep, that's us. That's us. We're the cops from the emergency room. That's right. And I was scared to death. I said, okay, well, I'm not going anywhere with you 2. Call 911, call another squad, and I'll go with those 2 cops if I'm really under arrest. So at that point, white cop is all fidgety, grabbing his, they wear those little black gloves. He's punching his fist and doing this and real impatient. The black cop has a little ounce more patience with me, but he's telling me, it's time to go. You're under arrest. You have to come with us. And I said, well, I don't understand. For what? What did I do? You didn't sign that paper, remember? And the white cop starts telling me, yeah, remember? You wouldn't sign the paper. We told you we would come get you. We told you we would come get you if you didn't sign that paper. And I was like, I was out of my mind, in pain. I told you guys, let my attorney sign that paper. I don't know what that paper was. I couldn't read it. I couldn't see. I wear glasses. I said, why? How is that making me under arrest for not signing that paper? You missed the court date. And I was like, I never was told the court date. When was the court date? The cops wouldn't tell me what court date I missed. So my son asked the cops, where's the paper? What's the warrant? Where is it? You have to have a warrant for her arrest. He said again, she'll get a copy when she gets to jail. So at that point, my mind is just racing. My 2 younger kids were up the street at the park on their bikes with their friends. The neighbor across the street had them up there. My 18-year-old's with me, and half the football team from South High is there. These kids just were totally surrounded me, and the cops were standing in the midst of my family. And so the black cop tells me, you need to come along. And I said, I'm naked. I'm not going to jail dressed like this. So he instructs my son, okay, go inside and get your mom some clothes. So he comes out with some pants for me. I have to get dressed on the porch in front of everybody, and then put my shirt on in front of everybody. And I tell my son, I said, go inside and get my medicine. But at that point, I was really getting confused, and my medication wasn't inside. My son was looking for it, trying to get it for me, but it was at Walgreens. I had to get the prescription. So I was confused. I told my son, go get it. He came back and said, Mom, I can't find your medicine. And then I just didn't remember that. It was at Walgreens. So I go through my purse, and I'm trying to find all my Coumadin, my Tramadol, all these medicines what I did have in my purse. I took them out and asked for a bag to take my medications with me. And the cops said, I said, I need to take these pills, several pills I need to take right now. They said, no, you can't take any medicine. They'll give you your medicine when you get to jail. And I said, okay, well, we need to get my wheelchair. And they said, no, we don't have room for a wheelchair. I said, it collapses, it folds, the handles collapse, it folds like a suitcase. It folds to that side. We don't have room for the suitcase. We'll have to give you a wheelchair in jail. And I was very uncomfortable. I said, because of my injuries, I have a very specialized custom wheelchair. There's no pressure points at all in my wheelchair. It's all just padding and soft, and it's wide enough for my hips and my butt. And that's where my injuries are, through my back, my head, my neck, my shoulders, my back, my hips, my legs. So again, I'm trying to convince these officers, please let me get my medical, what I need. And I also have to call the lab and find out my Coumadin level to know if I got to take this pill or not today. And they just ignored me. They lied. They said that I could have my medicine when I got to the jail. And a copy of the warrant. So at this point, I am completely frightened. And I told the cops straight out, I said, I'm scared to death of you guys. I don't want to go anywhere with you. I said to my son, I said, call 911. And he's like, the cops started laughing, 911, we're already here. No, I said, call 911, son, listen to me. And you just repeat everything Mommy says. And my son did what I told him. He called 911 and got them on the line. And I said, I am being arrested without a warrant. These are the same 2 cops that were angry at me on March 23rd when I got out the ambulance at the hospital. I thought they were just 2 angry cops. I had no idea that this, not signing that paper, would lead to my arrest. There's no paper telling me that I'm what I did or why I'm under arrest.
So Tonya,
So
I'm sorry, because I know that they might have to, they have other things they have to do. I want to make sure that you sum up that you didn't get a warrant. You never have seen a warrant to this day. You sat for 9 hours in the jail.
Yeah, they
in
took me to
a metal, too small wheelchair.
Too small.
And then you received this dated the 22nd of April, which is the day after you were arrested.
Yeah, so they took me to jail, and like Melanie just said, I was not given any medication. I was not given a wheelchair that fit me. And so I went through 9 hours in just agony in that jail. They left me sitting there. I told them it was really hurting me. I was in a lot of pain. I just needed my medicines. They refused to give it to me. So
Did you see a health care provider?
I never got any medical attention. They said not till 5 a.m. on the 22nd would I see a doctor and get my medications. So I finally get out of, they booked me put me into the prison clothes. They put me upstairs in a cell and shut the door. They didn't give me the lies that they told the cops was that you'd be given your medication when you get to jail. That didn't happen. I'd be given a wheelchair for me. That didn't happen. I'd be allowed one phone call in jail. It took 4.5 hours before they allowed me to make my first one phone call. They told me I could have my cell phone because I told them I couldn't remember any phone numbers. Everything was in my cell phone. My attorney's phone number I couldn't remember. So that was a lie too. And then I was speaking to the nurse, and the nurse said, "Why are you here? Why are you in here?" And I said, "I don't really know." I said, "I didn't sign a paper." 5 cops asked me that day I was in prison, why was I there? And they didn't understand. One tried to find a warrant on me, and they couldn't. So this is now, I'm out of jail. It's the 22nd of April. I go through the day, and the next day, the 23rd of April, at 9:30, my mailman hands me that letter, and it's from the Omaha Police Department, dated the 22nd, the day I've already, after I've suffered in jail. This letter is dated April 22nd, telling me that I need to report to the police headquarters, bring this paper, failure to comply with this notice will result in my physical arrest. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. I already had served my time. I already had been hurt. Yeah, no, I didn't get this until 2 days later. So this one, the citation, the bond was paid, everything.
And when I started treating this ward after you got, that was the Monday after you got out of jail, she called me. Someone asked me to care for her, a community member, and when I took her to get her Coumadin levels checked, she could barely move. The ability to get up and ambulate out of the wheelchair, she was very, very, very unstable. Had a lot of difficulty just, having the strength. So this is a very compromised person, period.
So I think that Robert, because when these things happen, this is a continuation of many different cases, many different situations that we've brought to the attention of the public and the media as they've been uncovered. And so Robert, I think, should close out.
Well, right here we have the Citizen Review Board that Mayor Stother put in place, and she named the members last week. So Ms. Ward is going to file a complaint with the police department today, and we're going to assist her with that. So hopefully the review board that the mayor put in place can look into this case and see if there's been any violations or wrongdoing. I believe that there has been, and I'm hoping for a statement from the chief or Ms. Tierney to clear up some things, because I just don't see how these uniformed officers can go around arresting people without warrants and taking them from their homes, especially when it's a misdemeanor charge.
And especially when they were mad at me. I wanted just 2 more cops. Send me 2 different cops. I'll go gladly, freely with them, even though I still don't know why I'm being arrested. But they refused, and they stopped the 911 from sending another squad car. Those cops talked on their little shoulder thing, and we got this under control. We got this.
Actually, Robert, I think it's also important that I'm going to file a case against UNMC with the Joint Commission to make sure that they're compliant. So I will be contacting their COO. I'm going to file a complaint with the Center for Medicaid Services. I'm going to file a complaint against the nursing board and the medical board for the physician and the nurse that treated someone, a patient, someone compromised in such a manner. So I want to make sure everyone knows that they have the right to complain about their medical care, and that it's of the utmost importance. Our job as a provider is to protect and advocate for our patients in a compromised position. It is not to pass judgment. And so that hospital did everything wrong, and it should be held accountable.
If you look at the date she was arrested, and then you look at this envelope right here, that's a problem, if you ask me. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
What?
Yeah.
If you guys have time, may I ask questions?
Sure, you can ask
Okay.
questions. Go ahead, sir. Yes, you can ask me any question.
Thank you. Wait until the shot is clear.
Oh. Signing? Oh, Tonya Ward. T-O-N-Y-W-A-R-D. Oh, and that was treated, so maybe that is what triggered them to be angry at me. A family advocacy movement, so I advocate for families.
What they were trying to get her to sign was the citation for the, or
For
the
following too close and.
Okay, is that good? Following too close during the accident.
And she was following too close.
and that was the citation.
Yeah, and failure to have insurance. Those are the two issues that they cited.
Can I have a picture of the board? Is that okay with you guys?
Family advocate, family advocacy.
They took my scarf off. I was just like, oh.
I hope that's not the major picture.
I know, don't use that picture. Good Lord, like I have to
John, I just had to tell you, I need that.
Right.
Everybody's having who you are, Tonya.
So not his name, but hold the hair back.
How are you? Good.
I was scared, I was so scared. That's a scary place, that's hell on earth.
Yeah, the other thing.
After that, we're going to have to for an
No, I don't have it.
I want to believe that.
But so this is really,
Private, I don't know, private
for me, it's
I'm not sure, but,
you know, exciting to sort of be in a position.
I volunteer to do this, obviously, I don't get any revenue, at least not yet, for doing this, these guys get revenue.
Yeah.
And,
Just,
you know, I think that just goes back to that sort of, what is the relationship between what you call revenue and what is a priority? Exposing what kind of benefits are priority. But one thing, we've got to
I was trying to.
okay.
I tried.
Taking it all. Basically, I feel like I have to come on you guys because we gotta hold these guys just as
Guy
accountable.
behind me that hit me.
In my opinion. So I try to get a shot of everything going on. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how you can get too close to the accident.
Well, yeah, well, and you know,
I was falling too close,
I
I
mean,
should have hit her.
you know,
But when she hit
I
hers,
don't know
I
how much
hit
is coming
mine.
from me, but
So it was like,
I grew up, I had cable access from a very young age, and I grew up, like, I love watching Ernie. I still, like, enjoy watching, you know, but he records everything he does with a pen, and for good reason. He's been
I know,
He's been
yeah.
through that before. And I'm the same exact same way. I've recorded everything that these guys do.
rare for the media
Yes,
to
you never
take
know.
care of that law.
You
I have
never
to
know.
tell you, for the future,
Oh, yeah, normally they,
Is that right?
they don't usually, they don't usually.
I call
they
myself an
want to sound like
activist,
the mo-
I
you know,
guess,
like
and
the-
I just
get
feel
on the
that
most important things
because,
for the.
I mean,
you know,
besides like the North Star, there's like nothing here. There's the reader, and I've tried communicating with the reader. You know, right now it's just a YouTube channel
Most people
and a
aren't
Facebook page.
professional media.
And you can go, if you go to YouTube, and usually when I search Flat River and like YouTube, like it's the first hit on YouTube search bar.
What's happening in North Omaha?
Yeah, I try to give priority to anything that I would call, I guess, government overreach, or certainly anything involving money and violence. I feel like where I should try and focus. So for me, you know, obviously police have a source for money, and
I moved here
I'm not
12 years
being
ago
violent.
because my brother was murdered.
Yeah.
And it was, basically it was like a mock trial, and his murderers walked free.
Oh, totally.
Shot in the head on his front porch.
Totally. I believe there are a lot of those out
Yeah, and
there.
it was
They're in
just-
every
yeah.
department around the
And I
country, and they're
remember
out
in
there.
while we were about to pull his
yeah,
gun,
she,
the cops
it might take her half an hour to fill out.
That's fine, I was
quite a
just
bit
curious
about
if it's new and
him as a drug.
Oh, yeah,
And literally he's my brother.
Drop it off.
Okay.
Dude, they want
Trying
to,
to get out.
yeah, they want to paint a picture.
Yeah, they do.
They have, yeah. But there's court in this country.
Yeah, I'd love to speak with you sometime, maybe.
Oh, that, no murders in May.
Because, you know, I'm
Yeah.
actually providing,
We got about 100
internet nursing service, and it's pretty rare what I do.
What's up, Alicia?
Yeah, you know,
72nd Lane, right?
there's, you know, like activists that I can identify, like these guys up here.
Oh, we do. Yeah, second
I don't know, like I think it'd be really cool
So
if
we
we
have,
put together some kind of
We have,
like alert or something. Like every time we feel we have something, like all of us that feel like should know about it, we want to send a group text or something. You know, someplace we can go to.
and I'm telling you, it's this is my.
Where we can all look at it, or explain like.
$3, so we need to know how much
something,
food we
and
do.
I'll take a look.
Extra
It's
down
okay,
to
Steve.
Like that, we have.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe just to get from Robert's group.
I mean, I don't know, I'm not,
That letter alone, that letter
I
alone.
travel.
That letter was dated the 17th or 18th.
Okay.
So,
Was it to be dated
I
after you were arrested?
I got involved because.
And after I went out of the jail at 1:30 a.m. So she tried that.
Like,
He helped her
what
with
they-
the
After you
justice.
I was already in jail. They said,
Advocating for her.
damn, you guys, she's already in jail.
Because of this.
Call the board. She's bubbling.
My advocacy is
More prevalent, more prevalent.
Remind me of that.
I do this I didn't prior.
I see like a
hospital, so that, so they entirely different piece, the level of complaining and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's what they chose to remind me
Not
of.
even being.
Because they were just like, oh,
I
did you do
felt
that?
very much.
Oh, no, I didn't do it. Okay, man, will you sign it? Oh, I don't have it for you. Okay, will you do it? Oh, did you file that? Oh, no, I didn't file it. I thought you filed it.
He shot himself.
Oh, okay, I'll do it. I mean, oh,
And
it's
then,
just like, damn.
you know, we had no idea who had killed him. I mean, it was later, we had no idea who killed him, and they didn't have the ICU lockdown. It was just, you know, just everything about it was not a good thing. So, I think really being able to keep track of hospital care, people are treated once they show up in the hospital is going to be an important issue.
Yeah, you know, and I think it would be very cool, for lack of a better word, to be able to have, I mean, and I don't know if I'm going too far ahead with this, but
Stop just claiming yourself. Put all these limits on your speech before you even get your ideas out. Just get them out there.
some kind of system where I think we can handle the complaints, because I don't believe that right now the culture in government is prepared to be accountable in many ways. I think it'd be nice if we could duplicate every complaint and we keep the records. You know, 'cause it's sort of like the same concept. I think that is going on here is I try and keep an exact
Well,
record.
you look it up, like it.
Come on.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I thought you left town, God.
I'm always in town, that's how I live.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
You know, I think.
What's that?
Did you get your question in?
Actually.
Oh, I've got some questions you guys might find interesting, but if you've got to go, you know.
You know, I have a master's degree in public health and advanced practice.
Okay, I'm 0.5.
Only 5 minutes? Okay.
I mean, but go ahead, don't take out.
No, I'm gonna go ahead.
All right, Bill.
Tanya, you're putting together a really feel terrible about what happened. I'm really glad you told your story. Come on, you're gonna help other people by telling your story. It's just crazy. Oh, that's cool.
No, what?
Actually, have you ever heard of we have Mr. Larry, I'm gonna send you a link, so you can read about it, you better understand it.
I think black eyes and all the black eyes.
Definition of a sign.
I think definitely.
Once you read that,
It's half the feature.
but
But
somebody
it
that has
does,
no.
I think it's something like 16
So, you know, everybody tells people
megabytes.
stop doing
Picture.
stupid stuff when they have nothing to
I
go
don't
to.
understand. You say that was that's why we created. You read about how long then you say, okay, now I understand why we created. The money center, it's all trying to create jobs, our own businesses, so we can employ our own.
You know what I'm finding is that even
You take care of
the leadership in this community is very, like,
Thank you, yeah, do you have my
like,
cell
we
phone?
keep creating training
Steve?
programs for CNAs and things like
Well,
that.
take it easy, take care.
That is just
Become
so
more
scary.
level
Look at
of
that.
healthcare workers, which is not a living wage.
It's
So
exactly.
that's enough to keep them, you know,
Oh, that's
off the
me.
street. I
You
mean,
got
what would
me.
they be doing? So I really think one of the things I'm doing.
You
is
got
some
me.
of the- to develop a community touch.
Okay, thank
Give them the
you.
skills to be able to literally, you know, take care of our community. I would like
And
to
I'll
think
answer any
young
questions
adults,
when you want,
you know, focused on,
I'll have them.
how like health and healthcare.
Whenever you're ready.
You know, focused on care and able to speak about it and.
Well,
you know, there's so
I got
many
two
people
options.
involved in their
I
health,
can
you
either,
know, physical
I
health.
can connect my mic over here.
I
You
can
know,
feel it.
well, no, that's,
Where we have a huge
Hi,
disparity.
how are you, sir?
And-
Oh, excuse me.
go ahead.
I'm Tanya.
It's, you know what, you don't need math.
You need to know how to read.
You know that you helped me when I was
You need to know how to look
little.
at a number.
Is
on
aren't
blood
you with
pressure.
that paper when you had
That was my
And
dad.
listen.
That was
What
your
about medication?
dad.
No
So we're
medication.
gonna
They're not
buy
getting it.
Oh, yeah.
1985.